Friday, October 1st, 1943. Number 15. Dialogue with Gitta. The time is near when I will no longer need to descend to be with you. These words fill me with great joy. What is way for you is weight for me. What weighs heavy on the earth is the way. Deliverance uplifts the weight, and it will cease to be. But as long as we are not united, we cannot lift. Every ecstasy is a foretaste of weightlessness, and that is why humans seek it. But they do so in the wrong way. Be ecstatic with divine drink. Be drunk with light. That is the symbolism of wine. That is divine blood. Virtue, kindness, good intentions are but empty vessels without the drink. Thirst after divine drink with unquenchable thirst, for it alone brings deliverance. What can you give if you have nothing in you? Without drink you are but miserable clay vessels. To the one who asks truly, drink will be given. Is that heavy for you? No. Is it difficult to carry? No, it uplifts. Behold, every ecstasy honors the divine. Lesser ecstasy is consumed by greater, but it lives on within it. Nothing is lost. Let there be no doubt in your soul. The ecstasy of being drunk with light is the most sacred of all. After a long silence. I am thinking about my past. My love relationships have been unworthy. Because they were self-serving. Animals do not mate for selfish reasons, but this instinct in humans has been contaminated by too much intellect. You did not serve. How could I correct this fault? From what do you want to free yourself? From the weight of my past. It is so barren, and I am ashamed. What is weight? With the asking of this question, all of my previous values instantaneously change to their opposites. Everything I have despised, everything I've wanted to forget, all that was oppressive weight, now becomes the greatest treasure, my way. Tremendously relieved, I reply, weight is the way. There are many weights, but there is only one way. Every weight has a name. The way has no name. Who is weightless on earth is wayless. The matter you have taken upon yourselves is the weight. If you could sense the longing of the weight for light, if you could grasp the yearning of the light for weight, then you would taste ecstasy. Hanna is hardly able to bear the intensity of these words. The one who speaks is a fragile vessel. She's not yet able to bear the force. After a long drink of water, I have descended. You are dear to me. Ask. I have no more questions, but I thirst after your words. They are not my words. Last week you asked if I had a message to send. I feel that you expected something other than gratitude, than thanks. For each and everything there is a time. At the rising of the sun, the earth pays homage to its creator. That is the message. When the light reaches you, you too will pay homage, whether you want to or not. I put you to the test, and I was not disappointed. I know the seed to be in good soil. Ask. Is the moment of death more important than any moment of life? Only for those who have neglected their task. How can you ever know of a given moment that it is not the last? If you are one with the divine, then there is no death. I will answer 2 more of your numerous questions. The rather ironic tone amuses me, for I actually do have a long list of carefully prepared questions in my pocket. I tell lies easily and often have little relationship to the words I am saying. A rocky cliff. In the stone are many different layers. If a heavy layer lies on a weak one, it slides. The load presses and slides and continues to slide. Pay attention to the weak layer. Never speak untruth. Engrave this in your heart. Avoid even the shadow of a lie. 2 weights resting upon one another are the foundation of the cathedral. If they slide, all is lost. The word is the bearer of light. The true word has weight. The false one is weightless. The deceiver rejoices at the breach, which is an open invitation for the father of all lies. The lie loosens, demolishes, crushes, divides. It is not violence which destroys the walls, but deceit. You have 1 more question. What is the meaning of last night's dream? It is up to you to interpret the lesson of your dream. That is why it is given to you in a dream. I am very disappointed at this unexpected rebuke. Until now, the dream interpretations of my angel had been tremendously helpful. Now I become aware that for quite some time I had neglected to actively look for explanations myself. I had thought, why should I? The angel will give me a better explanation anyway. This laziness in thinking on my part is undoubtedly the reason for my teacher's refusal to help. Friday, October 1st, 1943. Number 15. Dialogue with Lily. Each of the thoughts you send me is like a fine thread, light as a breath, and yet strong enough to counter the force of 1,000 ropes with which the earth pulls you to itself. How difficult it is to raise up, but how necessary. It is so difficult to raise your arm when 1,000 ropes pull you back. The raising gesture of the arm expresses the difficulty of lifting while hindered by ropes. My little servant, be very careful, for that is the heart of all your work. Do you understand? Not completely. What is not clear? Should I fight against these ropes? Imagine that you consist of 100 points. Each point is connected to the earth by a rope. 100 points. From each point, however, a ray also ascends to God. Those who have forgotten the way feel only the ropes when they foolishly want to become free from them. They do not accept them. Every point that is not accepted is a cutting off from God. If 100 points are heavy, then all is well. If they are weightless, it is outer darkness, straying from the way. Your task is to connect the 100 points with God. 99 are not enough. Light is the hollow tree stump. Light is the seedless fruit. Light the dried-out thistle. But the fruit-laden tree is heavy. Each of its branches bends to the earth, and yet its sweet burden is light. Teach the weight to those whom you protect, and they will again find the way. Vertical gesture from above to below, followed by its reverse. The line of downward pulling force is the same as the line of the upward force, only the direction is different. Weight, downward gesture, and faith, upward gesture, are one and the same. And this is nothingness. Agitated wave-like horizontal gesture suggesting a feeling of meaninglessness. Does the waxing and waning moon affect our acts? The essence of the created world is the human being. One half of the human, the unspoiled half, is beyond the created. One day all forces will serve you, but until then, you serve them. Knowing this, you can measure how far you have come. The sickle of the moon grows and you don't grow with it. Your fingernail grows and you don't grow with it. Before God, the moon is no larger than your nail. Soon you will understand. If you have faith, your burden wanes with the diminishing power of the moon, and your strength swells with the increasing force of the moon. After a brief silence, Lele's angel again addresses the subject of weight. Where weight disturbs, there is the error. The 100 points should all bear weight, each to the best of its capacity. Atmospheric pressure oppresses me. Just as with the moon, use the pressure. It can become a wonderful ally if you work not against it, but with it. Let it press you, and you will master it. It can press you only as far as the ground, no further. It will help you find the proper distribution of weight. If each of the 100 points bears equally, then the pressure has no more influence over you. Try it, and you will understand. How foolish the human being is. Like a king who fights against his own people. But he said, "Love thy enemy." Every force is an enemy if you do not love it. You cannot love it if you do not know it. Become one with it, and then there is no enemy. I am seldom humble, and that pains me. What stops you? I forget to be humble. But don't you see? That is just the answer. Practice being humble. Just think of it, and you can always be humble. Think of the divine with every beginning, and you will feel ever less distant from That is the goal. It is time to depart. Friday, October 8th, 1943, number 16, Dialogue with Gitta. We wait in silence. Just as I feel the wordless presence of my angel, a mosquito stings Hanna's arm. Help the one who speaks, moisten her arm, I shall return. I care for Hanna's arm. There is a long silence. Finally, we hear. Listen carefully. This is such a tiny creature, and yet it disturbs tremendously. Thus pay attention even to the smallest mistake. What was good before is from now on nothing. Rejoice. We expect much of you. Your task is great and very difficult. May the song that you send upward be perfect. Remember, you sing for eux. What is the first of your many questions? What sort of weight am I supposed to carry? You foolish little donkey. How could you possibly know how heavy the load is? Lift as much as you can, that is the measure, for you lift in place of many others. You will be able to lift ever more. How could you know such a thing beforehand? The lifting of weight has nothing to do with suffering. What you lift for others cannot weigh on you. Only what you neglect to lift weighs on you. Thank you. I await the next question. How can I defend myself against the dense, numbing fogs which so often engulf me? Dense fog, heavy layers of mist descend to earth when the force of the sun is weakened. If you burn and blaze brightly at all times before the divine, then where could there be a fog? Ask. How could I tear down the wall that is between me and others and makes me unfeeling towards them? The wall is not where you believe it to be. You are unfeeling with yourself. With myself? With yourself. Every tool is sacred. Again, a fog separates me from the meaning of what I have heard. Fog? Yes, I do not quite understand. You have destroyed yourself. Do you still not understand? I do understand, but how might I correct it? By giving protection to others, there is no other way. The wall is in you. You have built it with your own hands and hid behind it from the divine. Most people hide in this way, so you have plenty to do. Horrible prisons. Someday, all the prisons will open, but not for the self-imprisoned. Eternal darkness, horrible, impenetrable darkness. It is unbearable to be without light. Help to tear down the prison walls. Here we cannot help, but you can, my servant, for you know what a prison is. Burn, and heaven will be in you. Everything will become possible for you. For the strong, sin is a lesson. For the weak, it is damnation. With these words, the traditional interpretation of sin and guilt loses its power. A joyful sense of responsibility overcomes me. I feel that everyone is given the force to overcome sin, but many avoid the effort of seizing it because this involves responsibility. You may ask, how can I immediately become aware of whether I am forcing myself? Pay attention not to the effort, but to the force. How is that possible? Can you feel the force streaming out of you? Yes. This streaming is inherent to force. When you become tense, you block it. How is it blocked? What is my mistake? There is only one mistake: turning away from the divine. Let every act, every thought be like a flower opening before and there will be no mistake. The enormity of this challenge crushes me. Then I must begin to live in a completely different way. Not in a different way, a better way. By going a different way, not your own, you will not advance more quickly, even if you hurry. Do you have any more questions? There is still so much deception in me, but where? Where do you feel the force that is given to you? In my activities. When I paint, or when I really love, I am interrupted by a forceful affirmative gesture. Everything else is deceit and unworthy before the divine. Then I am extremely unworthy, with great severity. Do not judge. The laws for water and for the thirsty are different. Water as water always quenches thirst, but the thirsty are not always aware of their thirst. If water is too cold, it freezes. The thirsty die of thirst. If water is too hot, it evaporates. The thirsty die of thirst. In their thirst, humans kill one another. But blood is not water, and they become even thirstier. The severe admonition, do not judge, gives me to understand that if I underestimate myself, I am like frozen water. When I overestimate myself, I'm like evaporated water. When I live in the middle without judgment, then the thirst-quenching water of life can flow through me naturally. Let us open our hearts and adore. I depart. Friday, October 8th, 1943, number 16. Dialogue with Lily. The day fades. We utilize the pause between the two dialogues to rearrange the lamps and provide a more pleasant illumination. Suddenly the light goes out. I stand up and turn it on again, but a stern voice stops me. I put it out. We immediately become conscious of how irreverent it was to give the aesthetic question of lighting such disproportionate importance, thereby keeping Lily's angel waiting. Turn on the light. I switch on a single lamp and reach for a second one. Enough! Impenetrable darkness. A movement, a flick of a switch, and the human makes light. Pointing to the light bulb. A sacred force is captive in a prison of glass, and for humans the peace of night is taken away. Behold, the earth is covered with prisons, but you have the key. Where are you a prisoner? In my habits. This is your own prison. Where does it weigh on you? Habits always return. They do not return. You simply do not leave them. It's up to you. Two things worry me: fear of the new and clinging to the habitual. The eternally true is. Habit is not. Habit is the dark, the eternally untrue. In habit we cannot meet. It is not necessary to believe the believable. How could I free myself from all the obstacles that are in me? They are not in you. The obstacle is the task. Do you first try everything yourself which you demand of others? Not everything. The obstacles which you feel in yourself are everywhere. Along the true way, there are no obstacles. They are only on the false way. Only if you walk the false path are there obstacles between you and me. Silence. Is there anything we could do against the horrors of the war? Lele is stopped by a rapid, forbidding gesture. No, war is the habitual. It is not possible to fight the past. Turn your head toward the never-before-heard. I understand that only the coming new force can transform the old habitual impulse to kill. Silence. The school year is beginning and I have many doubts. Did you feel it in the same way last year? No, not as strongly. Then you are on the right path. The way that leads to corruption is broad. The true way is narrow, so narrow that it must be traveled alone, for it has to be cleared by oneself. The never-before-seen lights the way. The never-before-heard leads you. Why do I immediately become impatient when I find something good and new, and then I want more of it? It is not enough. Always thirst for the good and the new. The one who thirsts will always be given to drink, always. You can never be thirsty enough because you are not asking for yourself only. The measure of the one who helps is different from that of the masses. You are all helpers. Let us send a thought to the divine. Friday, October 15th, 1943. Number 17. Dialogue with Gitta. Along with much of the population of the region, Hanna has had the flu and a high fever all week. I'm worried that she might not have enough strength for today's dialogue. Nevertheless, we wait in silence as usual at 3 o'clock. I'm ready. Thank God. Never worry. Never be of little faith. Ask, for time is short today. The angel is obviously aware of Hanna's limited strength. How might I feel like a treasured instrument so that I might be more just with myself? Who created you? God. What the divine creates is sacred. You are not only creature, you also partake of divine force. Thus you are your own creature. Act accordingly. You have called forth good and evil. Choose the good, and evil will disappear, for no one is there to create it. What you form now will not turn against its creator. The vessel which you once formed is already empty and devoid of strength. It cannot harm you. Ask. In what way do I least resemble you? Each of your questions concerns only yourself. In just this way, we do not resemble one another. That is your mistake. The source of all things is so infinitely far away that your veiled eye cannot see it. Follow the line that emerges from the infinite. Follow it joyfully, freely, and all burdens will disappear. Something opens up inside of me, and I breathe a sigh of relief. It is already lighter. Just as the church bell begins to toll, someone begins to pump water with the rusty hand pump in the neighbor's garden. A loud creaking sound results. Two voices. Do you hear them? They battle. But the third will win. The new voice is silence. In you, there is no silence. Gesture indicating the hard metallic up and down movement of the pump handle, followed by the gentle ringing of the church bells. Either you strain yourself, or you swing along. Silence is not dependent upon noise. Fleeing from noise serves no purpose. Wordless, soundless, unmoving. Silence is the totality of all sounds. Silence. Are you expecting anything else from me? I am so glad that you are here. Listen carefully. There's a wonderful mirror in you. A mirror that reveals all. It dwells inside of you and reflects the divine, but only in silence. If a tiny mosquito alights on its surface, the mirror image is clouded. If the mirror is not clear, you cannot create. Focus all of your attention on it. Heaven does not hide before the wonderful mirror. After a long silence, in a soft voice, do you still not feel the miracle in your midst? The miracle of the seven. Its name is still concealed. It dwells among you. Very softly. The sevenfold soul of the new world. The great mystery. Its foot, its foundation is truth. You cannot yet see it. Be true, so that you might see at least the foot of truth. The silence I taught you is the sum of all mysteries. Act in the name of silence. We all feel that something of extreme importance is being revealed to us. I eagerly await the angel's next appearance in anticipation of hearing more about the seven-souled new world. Friday, October 15th, 1943, number 17, Dialogue with Lily. A wondrous chalice descended from heaven. Humans, what infants, seized and dropped the chalice, and it shattered into 1,000 pieces, into clattering fragments of clay, into words. Multitudes of words are nothing. Only the one, the chalice, is. It descends from heaven again and again. An encouraging smile invites Lily to speak. How good it would be if I could smile like you. What is stopping you? I don't know. Lily has suffered from an unhappy childhood. Your lack was joy, but from now on no joy will equal yours. I have not even thanked you for the several times you have helped me this week. Several times, many times, often, these are still but fragments, tiny pieces, they are not yet one. If you rejoice 10 times, there are 9 gaps between the 10 joys. In the beginning you were created in infinite joy. The one joy is possible for you. Ask. How could I attain true knowledge of human nature? True knowledge of the human does not exist, for the human does not yet exist. The human is so great that not even I can see it. The answer to your question came long ago. You call it love. Love is now a mere splinter of clay, but it will become one, like joy, one and indivisible. Love is dawning in the 4 of you, not when you are together, but when you are one. Ask. Why do we fall so easily into the depths, into evil ways? If the one who falls reaches the bottom, there is no more falling, only pain. But why the fall? Because of not serving. The one who fell let go of the one and only real support, the ungraspable. The graspable was reached for, and this caused the fall. The fall is not beginning now, but now the bottom has been reached. The one indivisible smile is the only help. If you are together with the mourners, then you also mourn. If you are one with them, then you make them joyful. Silence. Why do I have such a problem with time? Many hours will never equal eternity. If eternity is in your heart, time will be born in your hand, and for everything there will be time. Lily glances at her watch. Foolish toy! It breaks eternity into pieces, and the human believes this makes more. An indescribable wonder will be born. The one. Do you feel it? The one that approaches? The one, the whole, has nothing to fear. Fear not any of you when you are one? Silence. You may ask. I'm disturbed by psychoanalysis. I have a feeling that something is wrong with it, but I don't know why. Freudian psychoanalysis is practiced in Budapest. It chops into pieces without having the ability to put together again. That is what is disturbing you. To break apart is easy. Those who understand it better tell me that psychoanalysis does integrate and build up. They're silly, like children playing with building blocks. They play around with the most sacred of tasks. They are worse than all the others, for they betray those who trust them. They tear apart the living and the growing, and then they squeeze and crush it. Everywhere it is the same. Torn and splintered fragments are glued back together, but the waste will be swept away. We don't glue things together. Neither hour to hour, nor hand to foot, not smile to smile, nor person to person. There has been enough gluing. The new wine will not be poured into glued jugs, for it would burst them. The glue has many names: duty, obedience, and many, many more. To paint over the glued parts is senseless. The very announcement of the coming wine causes everything glued to shatter. The shattering has already occurred. Now comes the new wine. I sense that the new wine represents an intense vibration of life which causes old, worn-out values to shatter. Fear not. Live in the name of the One. At the end of the dialogue, Hanna's flu is gone. She is in perfect health.